I know it gets a little hard, because being your own boss and having, multiple jobs going on, like if you do have a part-time or if you have a full-time job, or if you have kids that you have to go pick up and drop off at school, it gets a little hard setting time management, which is why it's so important, and your calendar has to be your best friend. Who right now uses their calendar to plan their week, like on Saturday or Sunday or Monday morning? Like, who goes into their calendar and actually uses it and starts inputting appointments and time blocks, or pick up from school, time block that? Like, who's actually on a daily basis using their calendar?
I I have a calendar here next to my bed. I'm super old
Awesome.
school, so I write everything down. I
You
don't
like
have
to
nothing
write it.
on
Yeah,
paper.
you're more visual.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so do you find yourself using it on a daily basis, or like, like more throughout the week?
Yeah, because then if I don't do what I put there to do, then I feel like, no, like I didn't do anything. I don't feel like productive.
Right. And when do you do that? Do you do that a certain day out of the week, or you do that you
So
just
at the end of the month, I would do my whole entire schedule for the next the
Oh,
month.
nice. You do it on a monthly basis. That's very
Yeah.
nice. And then you kind of just go filling in if things changing, and
Right.
whenever stuff
Especially
changes.
for like open houses on the weekends. I keep those
Right.
blanks so that way I can see who's
Nice.
open house I'm gonna host.
Awesome. That's fantastic. That's really good. Um, I know, Priscilla, you have your time management that you said you do, your certain, you have it like by days, right? Coordinated by days.
Yeah, I have it by like theme days. So today is my admin day where I'm just gonna be on my computer checking my emails, doing everything that is related to administration, and then tomorrow is more of like following up with the clients. If I have any open house leads or anything like that, give them some time to think about what they saw. I reach out. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays are my, I'm talking with people, I'm prospecting, this is conversations are going on. Thursdays, networking, going to events or whatever. That's my social Thursday. And then Fridays, it's kind of like wrapping up, checking, the following week, checking what I did this week, what I didn't do, and stuff like that. And then Saturday, I have it kind of like open for a little bit of prospecting if I have showings and things like that. And then Sunday is supposed to be for content creation, which that's the one I haven't really focused on.
Nice. And do you like this way better than the other way, that you were doing a little bit of everything every single day?
Yeah. Yeah,
You say
because that
you
way,
prefer this way.
hmm I feel it's more organized. And if I have any appointments or anything, I already know, okay, I can do it on Thursday. Thursday's the day where it's social. So I'm meeting up with people, I'm doing my events, I'm doing whatever socializing came up. That's where that's the day to book everyone. So it's not like, oh, let me see, maybe Wednesday. And then obviously if someone can't meet that Thursday, then okay, well, I'll work around it. But for the most part, that's just my go-to for everything.
Perfect. David, do you have any style that you're using for your like calendar and your appointments?
No, so I usually use I started off handwritten, writing down my stuff, my activities. I did switch to Outlook, but then when it comes to Outlook, I really enjoy it because everything's like one ecosystem, like with your phone and stuff like that. But when it comes to virtual, I do find myself having more trouble being consistent with it compared to when I would write things down.
So you're saying you prefer you're going back to writing things down and kind of seeing it, and
Maybe I guess might as well if it's the most effective for me. But I've always liked the idea of keeping it virtual, like having your calendars in sync, right? But yeah, we gotta get we gotta start with what works, right? What has the greater effect. And I think
right.
to start would be maybe writing it down again.
That's good. I think the goal is for to try different things, and See what you're most comfortable with. Victor, are
That
you
makes sense.
using your calendar on by hand, like an
Yeah.
actual calendar, or are you using your phone or your
No, so
laptop?
I use Google Calendar.
Okay.
I typically will use Google Calendar. I kind of focus on like trying to focus on like what to do. Like I'm not. I just figure I always try to say like keep the schedule that just needs to be kept. I try to have some stuff in the morning, like let's just call it morning routine stuff, which doesn't have to be perfect, but just whatever it is, and then have your schedule in the evenings, and then and then try to have always like morning routine, evening routine, and then the day fill it up. I do think for me admin days typically a lot of stuff need to get catch up, making sure our transactions are in compliance. I follow up with any people, bills get paid, meetings with agents. I use Google Calendar for that so that we keep up with that. But I use Google Calendar. I think it's for me that always works. Writing stuff down is usually for me. I like that too. um I use the little notes thing now. I'm starting to use this little note things that I have on my computer. So in my browser, whenever I open up Google Chrome, I downloaded something called Momentum. And what Momentum is when I open up a new tab, it's like this whole home screen. It gives you like a little quote. It says, "Oh, Victor, whatever the quote of the day is." But on the right side, it lets me write down notes, and I like to write them down there because I every time I open my browser, I see my notes. I see what my to-do list essentially. And I use that for like, I gotta get this done today or we gotta get this done this week type of stuff. Um, so yeah, the writing is good too. But I tend to sometimes like I feel like I leave my notebook somewhere or I don't have it on me. What if that happens? Um, so but yeah, but definitely I use Google Calendar to answer your question for the most part.
Nice.
And
Well,
that's
I just think that we all should definitely use something, right? To be able to manage our time. We know that time is something that we can't get back and it's literally priceless. And we all are running a business. Everybody's running a business here, right? So prospecting is number one because without prospecting, without customers, we have no business. We don't get paid. Our bills don't get paid and our family and lifestyles suffer. So I encourage everyone to put prospecting and include it in your calendar, either on your monthly calendar that you have at home or in your Google Calendar, even if it's once a week. I feel like it needs to be in there because it's not something we need to like look down upon or like, oh, like I don't even know where to start or we can't be inconsistent when it comes to prospecting. That's why even if it's an hour a week, I think it's important because that's what keeps our business going. It has to be a non-negotiable in our business. Non-negotiable meaning like it's like a life or death situation because technically it is. Like if we don't prospect and we don't have it in our calendars and we're doing all this busy work and we're going here, we're meeting, and but we're having open houses, but we're not following up. And if we're doing listing presentations and we're not following up, or if we have a listing and we're not selling it and we're not having, putting down on the calendar, hey, I need to go ahead and meet with this seller to have, I'm sorry guys, I had a call. I need to meet with the seller to have this uncomfortable situation. Uncomfortable conversation about reducing the price. These are all things that we need to have in our calendar. But like in Carla's instance, Carla, you just got two great leads, right? And they'll lead to listings, but guess what? You can't get super focused and forget about continuing the calls because that's what happens in real estate, right? Like we all know, like it turns into, okay, I got to blow out this fire. Okay, now I got to chase this lead that said he wants to, but I'm not really sure. No, we have to have a date and time for that, right? We have to time block. Okay, when am I going to follow? When is my follow-ups? I can't follow up the entire day. I just can't work on follow-ups every single day, right? No, we have to work on um like I got my buyer under contract. Great. He's like calling me every second. Oh, when is inspection? When is this? When do That's great, but I cannot dedicate my entire time to my buyer that just got under contract, right? I need to time block, I need to prioritize and say, okay, wait, I'm gonna have 2 hours that I'm not working on this deal that's on the contract. That's super exciting, right? Because he's about to, we work so hard to get to where we're at and we want to move the deal forward and we don't want it to fall apart. But at the end of the day, we have to manage our time because we don't have somebody telling us, hey, did you work on this, or hey, did you do that, did you call so and so, or we don't have that. So we're independent contractors, right? That comes with good perks and it comes with bad stuff too. We have to be self-motivated and we have to manage our calendar and our time. Does anybody have any questions, any tips that they're doing right now to um keep on top of their calendar and not waste time on senseless things? I don't want to be
Yeah,
the one talking
the other
again.
thing I would chime in is just, admin time. Admin time, work on, the things that like, just systems, you're adding leads, those type of things. Prospecting time when you're just like, hey, I'm gonna focus 1 hour, no calls, no interruptions, no nothing, or whatever it is, and just call. So whoever's calling me, it doesn't matter. Whatever email I get or a text I get, it doesn't matter. It can wait. Most things, anything can wait, unless it's emergencies and stuff like that. Everything can wait an hour or so. Um, and another thing that could be very powerful, guys, you could try is like, I sometimes people call it planning time. I call it CEO time. CEO mean because you're the CEO of your business. We're all CEOs of our business here. So have that CEO meeting every week and just kind of see, okay, where am I looking to get? Where's my vision? Where do I want to be in 3 months, 6 months? What is it that I want to, where would I envision my entire business to be in 6 months, and what steps can I take this week to get closer to that? So have that CEO meeting, get a notebook, and you write down, and you sort of journal, and you say, this is where I want to go. All right, these are the things I got to get going. So a 30-minute, time block on that. Maybe you could have a routine with that every Monday morning, every Sunday evening. I think that's pretty great. And then time for your social media marketing, because social media takes time. Putting the post together, um, you know, and what I recommend with that with social media too is try to have it every week so you can schedule your posts. So if you can set up 3 to 4 hours for content creation or setting up your post, whatever it is, and then just schedule them for the rest of the week, and you're good. Most people who you see post very frequent on social media, they typically do that. They typically will spend a few hours getting all the posts for the week, and if anything else comes up during the week, they'll also post that, but at least they have certain posts already scheduled for the week. And if you can get like that and have that set up, it'll make life easier than trying to figure it out every day what I'm going to post, or every few days.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Automating your business, right? Because social media, and I would say checking emails is a productivity killer. Which I find myself doing all the time. Sometimes you do it without even noticing. Um, so that's why I think like if you can find activities like your calendar, if you do have a calendar that's away from your phone and maybe on your laptop, that's great, because with different texts coming in and calls coming in, it's a little hard, it's a little hard, like you said, it's a little hard to stay focused. So we have to set ourselves up for success and try to find ways to make our business a lot more automated. um Anybody have any
Um,
feedback?
yeah, so something that I use too to help me keep track of, the deals and the leads and things. think of it of like a funnel. You have your hot, you have your under contract. So the way that I manage my admin days too is that I look at my pipeline, I go on my CRM and I'm looking, okay, who's hot, who's under contract, and I work and I prioritize. Obviously, come Monday morning, I need to prioritize my deals that are under contract because we need to make sure we're keeping up with deadlines, that we have certain things that are happening, that title is running smooth, that my clients are good. So I start my admin day like that. Okay, what do I have under contract? This, okay, did we do inspection? It was appraisal order. So I follow up on that. If I have multiple deals under contract, that's the first thing I'm tackling. Everything that's under contract because that's the most important right now because you don't want it to fall through. But after that, you have to move down the funnel. Okay, who's hot, who's active, who's showing, who do I need to schedule, and work yourself that way. And I feel that organizes us in a way because we're keeping track of, okay, our hot leads, so we're not, losing momentum with them, but at the same time, we're still building the pipeline and we're still building that, we're still prospecting. I don't know if that
Yeah,
makes
I think
sense.
that's great. No, I do. I kind of use that too. I have a whiteboard in my office and I have like buyers, sellers, leads. So for sure, I'm with you on that. Your organization is key. It plays a big part in time management.
Yeah, the OCD in me is real.
It's good though because especially for you, you guys have multiple people in the team. If you want to, like for you agents that want to expand and scale and have a team, you need to be organized as number one, right? And you need to delegate. Eventually, I know, Priscilla, you're gonna probably have, a transaction coordinator and
I already have
showing.
one.
Okay, perfect. Showing assistant and everything. Carla, I don't know if you know what that is, but transaction coordinator is somebody that as soon as you go under contract, they handle it all the way until closing date. So they handle all your paperwork when it has to do with everything that needs to get signed, all addendums, scheduling the closing, what else do they do, Priscilla? Like staying on top of the lender as far as one of the key things that they do is that they stay on top of deadlines so you don't miss a deadline, because a lot of times people think a transaction coordinator is just for help, but for me is mainly so that if I were to miss a deadline, I know that she's going to go ahead and catch it if she's a good coordinator.
Yeah, so she's like, so think of your transaction coordinator as your second set of eyes. So, and I also tell her like, hey, if my contingency is about to expire, don't tell me the day before. Tell me 3 days before, because if I need to extend something, if I need to negotiate something, if there's something that needs to get taken care of, I need time to wait for responses. I need time to be able to negotiate that. So with
Exactly.
my transact with her, she already knows. Okay, so if the inspection period is 5 days, hey, pretty, you have 3 days left on your inspection. We have 3 days left on financing. And then that's like another reminder, like, oh shit, okay, let me check in again on everyone. Like, hey, title, how are we doing? Angelo, what's going on? And it keeps you también, you still control the transaction because ultimately it's yours, but it definitely helps having someone that's there reminding you when you have so much going on. It's like another reminder. So
Yeah, some people don't they like handling their own, which I think in the beginning as a newer agent you should do it on your
mhm.
own so you can know exactly um the proper steps to get to closing. But after a while it's I don't know how much yours charges, Priscilla, but mine, I think I pay her 350. How
No,
much does she
mine,
charge?
mine, she charges 400. She's a little bit more expensive.
Okay. So between 350 to 450, I think that's the normal price, and that's a one-time fee. And that's what they charge you all the way up until closing. If you don't close, guess what? She doesn't get paid. So that's what I love about it, that it doesn't cost that much. When you think about it, it's not a lot because sometimes when you're under contract, that deal can consume a lot of your time
Mm-hmm.
because it's a lot of like false fires and just like a lot of clerical admin stuff when you should be going ahead and looking for more business, because that's who's doing that in your business. If no one's doing that, then it's completely upon us to get more business on a daily basis.
Another thing I want to throw, because it has to do with time management and calendaring. Something that changed a lot for me. I remember I used to always like figure out my week on Monday mornings. I felt like Monday mornings I would go into the office and I'd start figuring out, okay, what do I got to do this week? And then what was a big game changer for me was planning Sundays. So I started doing it Sundays, usually late afternoon, early evenings. It used to be before that. I used to be like Sundays I'm out and about, I'm going out, I'm brunching, and then I get home and I'm watching the game or I'm watching Game of Thrones or whatever. And then Monday morning I figure out my week. But no, I started doing Sunday afternoons or even evenings or even Sunday night, whatever, depending on what I was doing. And I would just figure out like, okay, what do I need to do this week? What are my priorities? What do I want to get done that's gonna move the needle of my business this week? And just doing that on Sundays instead of worrying about that on a Monday, really,
Yeah.
really helped me push things forward. So
Hmm.
that having that little space in my calendar on a Sunday, really, really helped out. And I've always done it like right now. I like to do it more in the afternoon, evenings. Um, but I would sometimes do it in the mornings too, or something. It doesn't have to be in the evening. Whatever makes sense for your Sunday. That also has helped me a lot with my time management. So maybe it'll work for you guys.
I agree. I've started doing that. There's certain weeks that I don't do that, and my Monday is like a shit show. So I do think that's great. And I'm also, believe it or not, I'm able to sleep a little bit better because sometimes we can't sleep at night or, like get some good rest because we're so anxious and we have like all this stuff in our head that we want to do. And just throwing it out and organizing yourself and putting it on paper is like, you'll be less anxious if for those of you that like struggle with that throughout the week or throughout the
Yeah.
day.
Here, it was essentially what got my mindset on that is I don't know where I read it or I heard it, but someone told me stop starting your week on Monday, start your week on a
Exactly.
Sunday.
And in
And,
the
and that
calendar,
clicked.
what's the
I was
first
like,
day on the calendar? The first day is Sunday.
it's a Sunday. All right. So instead of don't think like an employee and start your week on a Monday, think
Right.
like a business owner, start your week on a
Boss.
Sunday. And that kind of hit me with that. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
No, and it also helps because you already know you can sleep better because you already have a plan for what you're gonna do once you open your eyes. So you already
Exactly.
know that when you wake up, you're gonna have your gratitude session, you're gonna read something, you're gonna have your coffee, you're gonna get ready, and then it's like, okay, here, I got a call, boom, 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 boom. And then you just take care. I gotta reply to this because you already know everything that you have to do. So it just flows so much better.
I agree. Does anybody have any questions about time management or any deals that you have going on and you have any doubts about anything? We have Neej. She's our newest agent. Neej, are you there? ¿Quieres saludar?
Y saludos, buenos días, bendiciones para ustedes.
Buenos
Buenos días.
días.
Yeah.
Neej is a Spanish Creole, just in case you guys come across any agents that speak Creole. She is awesome because she is, and she speaks English, right, Neej? Tú sabes un poco de inglés. Like she understands it better than she speaks it, I
Sí,
think.
yo
Sí.
entiendo, sí.
Hey, so if you guys look, South Florida has a huge Haitian population, and I come across a lot of them, and it's great to have somebody in the group that can help us out with those clients. Neej, welcome, bienvenido a la
Bienvenida,
familia.
Midge.
Merci beaucoup. Eso quiere decir gracias en francés. Bueno,
Well,
sí,
you
yo
guys,
estoy bien contenta y, y agradecida también porque me traigo yo Silvi, una amiga, si ustedes no lo conocen, entonces sí. Entonces yo soy bien agradecida con ella y contigo también, Helen, que me gusta mucho tu energía. Yo te lo dije desde el primer día.
thank you.
Sí, bueno, yo espero que podamos pasar, bueno, que podamos hacer muchas cosas, que
Muchos
podamos
negocios.
colaborar y hacer muchos negocios, sí que sí. Buenos días, señor Víctor.
Buenos días, bienvenida. Ahí vas a ver que así, estar alrededor de este grupo vas a hacer muy bien. Vas a ver.
Sí, gracias,
Yo
gracias.
te llamo, te voy a llamar pronto para poder juntarnos, ¿ok?
Perfecto,
Y
gracias.
configurar todo con la licencia y hacer todo lo que tenemos que hacer, ¿ok?
Ok, gracias.
Ah.
So guys, thank you so much for logging on. Thank you for being here with us today. Let's go get some business. Let's close some deals, drink your water, plan your days, plan your months, and let's get ready to end this year with a bang. Thank you so
Let's
much,
do it.
guys.
Have a great week, y'all.
All
Thanks,
right,
Thank
guys.
David.
you.
You
All
guys.
right. See you later. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Helen.
Thanks.